We're officially now live on YouTube and we're live on Facebook. And Bruce the Sportsdoc, my co-host, my buddy. I think I could shake your hand because we're almost we are family.
Yes, we are.
Not almost. We are family here on Rover Sports. And Bruce, how's your night going? We got NFL free agency to discuss. We got some sports news, some life that we're going to be talking about tonight. Got some great people coming into the stream. Go ahead, Bruce. How are you?
I'm doing very well. We've got, as I said, new microphones, new studio. Want to welcome everybody. Obviously, the coronavirus continues. All the stuff. New people have turned up positive. So we'll start off with a serious note. And here in Pennsylvania, all non-urgent businesses are closed. Everybody's in lockdown. People are abiding by takeout, and people are cooking in and stocking up. And we just hope that everybody's safe out there, and everybody, wash your hands and use gloves and do all that stuff. We were blessed with a great day here in Philly.
Watch this. Never mind. This is just better.
Okay. Beautiful day, 70-degree weather. Everybody was out walking their animals around, and I was too. I was walking my wife and my daughter.
So here's the thing, and your daughter's not an animal. That would make me one.
In the words of the Elephant Man, she's not an animal.
So we got Bruce the Sportsdoc here. And actually an interesting feature, if we wanted, we could invite some people into the live stream. I'm not sure how it would sound on the podcast. If you're comfortable with that, we could do that on
We could do that
date.
As long as they're good callers. If they're bad, we have to just hit the old eject button, the old spring. Whoop!
You sound like Berman a little bit. Whoop!
Little bit. So as far as news today around the league.
I love that we have the same mic, man. We don't have to share an iPhone, just like old times. Each person has their own microphone. It's beautiful.
So let's just buzz around. You could read the comments.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Doug. It's great. Doug Lass. It could be one name, Doug, or it could his last name just be Lass, or that.
Or it just could be S.
I always thought that
Doug
it was
S.
I always thought that it was that Doug was really his first name and his last name was Lass.
Could be, he might be from Scotland and his last name is Lass. I don't know.
Chris Senior, his school's been canceled and he lives out in California. So we've been in quarantine. We've been doing quarantine life for about a week now. So I'm almost getting used to it, and I think the rest of the country's gonna have to get on our level of quarantining.
That's for sure. But just jumping into the world of sports, TB12 is getting his number. So, a gentleman, what's Godwin's first name?
Christopher. Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin and he hails from the fine Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. He's given up number 12 to Mr. Tom Brady, and Tom will wear number 12. It'll be hard to get used to wearing the Tampa Bay Bucs outfit, but I think it'll be fun. It'll be good for the league. And now the big thing will be Belichick versus Brady. Who's going to do better? So, Spencer, if you had a $100 bill nailed to a wooden board and they say, who is going to have more wins? Mr. Belichick or Mr. Brady this year? Who's going to have more wins and why?
It's going to be a very, very interesting question, but I'm going to go with the best coach in NFL history. I'm going to go with the New England Patriots because I see Jarrett Stidham being their quarterback, or I see them maybe getting Justin Herbert, because now with the Colts getting Rivers and the Oakland, there is a way that the Patriots can get Justin Herbert. They still have Stephon Gilmore on that defense. I don't see a tank job for Bill Belichick. He's one of the older coaches in the NFL. The Bucs still have to play the New Orleans Saints. You don't know about Adam Gase. You don't know about the Miami Dolphins, and they're spending a lot of money. But do you really think that the Dolphins are going to sweep the Patriots? And then you look at the Buffalo Bills. How will Stephon Diggs contribute into that locker room? Is Buffalo going to get over the hump? I think New England will still be a playoff team with Bill Belichick. I'm going to take the Patriots, but it is possible that it's a competitive race. Where do you stand on your own question?
I'm going to take Tampa Bay. I believe that Brady and Mike Evans, reasonable defense, and a very good coach at Bruce Arians, they are going to prevail, and they're going to have more wins than the Patriots. I think both teams are going to – there's two more wild cards. Is that this year?
I believe that the way that we're trending, it looks like there will be 7 playoff teams this year, and the second seed will not get a bye, and there might be 17 games.
Go. Sorry, so you can see your face.
Total, 17 games.
So I think I'm predicting both teams. I think the Bills are going to win that division now, and I believe that both are going to be wild card teams. I think that both the Bucs and, of course, the Patriots will be wild card teams, will be in the mix, in the tournament. But again, you're predicting that Stidham, is Bill Belichick going to really ride naked with Stidham, or he's got to pick up a veteran? What do you think he's going to pick up?
Brian checks in and says that he thinks it could be Andy Dalton.
There have been some Dalton rumors. There have been some Red Rifle rumors around. I guess as good a guess as any, right, Spence?
I'd like to see Stidham more because Stidham's an unknown, and Andy Dalton is kind of...
He's a known loser.
Exactly. He is known as just being a complete waste of space at the quarterback position. Cincinnati is so irrelevant with him. It would be nice if Andy Dalton went to the Patriots and became a winner. It would also show the merit of Bill Belichick. However, I think that for the Patriots, it could be Dalton, but I think it should be maybe Jarrett Stidham. I don't think Cam Newton is going to get traded to the Patriots. So I ask you, where do you then see Cam Newton? Because do you see him fitting in with Bill Belichick, all his style, kind of dressing in very flamboyant fashion? I don't see that flying in New England.
I don't see that. I don't see Jameis Winston, who throws more interceptions than anybody. I just don't see them fitting in with the Patriots culture, and they're both talented. So let's just speculate. Quarterback carousel, number one, where is Newton going to land? The first question is:
so do you like it more full screen, or
doesn't matter?
Like
irrelevant to me. Let's just stay with the dialogue. It doesn't matter. We look the same either way, but we have these really cool Shure microphones, so hopefully we sound nice with a good bass, good reverb.
Yes, sir.
So the question is, as posed. Now you're to become the technocrat. You usually criticize me for all the obsession with detail, and now you become the technocrat here in this crew. But
sorry about that.
No, it's good.
I have a lot of little ticks.
No, it's good that you have paid some attention to detail here. It's kind of nice.
Well, no, it's just how I feel comfortable because I want to give the content, based on the quality of the pictures, based on the words that I will be uttering during this show.
Well, for me, okay, that's fine. I accept that.
I'm challenging you intellectually.
I accept that as gospel, as the way it is.
So, what is your question?
Question is, where will Cam Newton end up? And number one, will he be a starting quarterback anywhere? And B, if he's a backup, where will he be? Who's going to acquire Camatha Newtonian?
I see Camatha or Cam Newton. I see. It's a great question.
It's not an easy question. That's why we're hesitating.
I think that
as we introduce some dead air, do into the feed.
Why not
dead air while you
Can
consider?
you give me a Jeopardy music?
I don't know what is the Jeopardy music.
Do. Anyway, that's a great question here.
Yep, and the answer is.
I'm going to list the options.
Go right ahead.
The Chargers are an option.
Who did the Chargers have as their
Tyrod Taylor?
Okay. Now, I think it is an option there because I think Anthony Lynn would be flexible enough to deal with Cam Newton. Tyrod is not a very impressive quarterback. He's got good numbers because he only throws 3 to 5 yard passes. And having Newton as a wild card would give them an upside and also give them a little buzz in that huge $5 billion stadium in Los Angeles. They are going to need to put some fannies in the seats. And I'm not sure Tyrod Taylor fits the bill. Maybe Cam Newton could give you a little buzz. So I think you got off the ground with one good call.
Here's an interesting call. The Miami Dolphins.
So the Miami Dolphins have?
Because even though they're going to be drafting Tua, you could have Cam Newton as your quarterback this year.
You're right. He could be like the emeritus QB, and then you could work Tua in. Even though Tua says he's fine, I know he underwent a major hip surgery. He had a dislocated hip with an acetabular fracture, which means that outer thin bone was fractured. So a bad injury. So I don't believe that Tua will be at full strength until at least mid-season. So I think that the Dolphins do have a chance to get Newton. And I look at Winston, and they're obviously different players, but they're both high risk, high reward.
Who,
Actually,
Tua and Winston?
no,
or
I'm talking
Jameis
about
and Winston?
Jameis Winston
and
and
Cam.
Cam. They're both, different. They have strong arms. They had initial success and receded last year. So I think there's some commonality between those two quarterbacks.
There's a big difference, though, between the two quarterbacks.
No, I understand. Jameis throws a lot of interceptions. I don't think Cam does necessarily.
Mobility and athletic ability. Jameis Winston has almost zero athletic ability in terms
so
of
he
running.
Can't really run.
No, he's mostly slow. It's like Byron Leftwich. I think that Winston, he is losing weight. However, when you look at the two guys, I think that Cam probably has better leadership, but I actually, believe it or not, I think Jameis, who outdueled Cam? No, I'm trying to think. I actually look at Jameis, and I think that he does have a lot of talent, actually. I am excited still about Winston. I love watching him play. 35 touchdowns, over 5,000 yards.
I think he's got a lot of
talent.
He also has a lot of charisma.
More talent than Mariota. Sorry.
Yeah, I think so. I also think that Jameis has a lot of charisma. He's exciting. Whatever town he's in is going to enjoy him. Good, open personality, and I personally like him. And I know he was a bit perplexed by his own interception total.
I agree. And I mean, one thing is for Bruce Arians is that he's one of the best coaches in the NFL. But you look at some of the worst quarterback situations. I'm going to now get myself in the hot water. It's time to eventually ease myself into the hot water conversation.
Yep. Okay.
I look at quarterbacks that are not going to work in the league, and I've been saying for a while that Darnold and Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar Jackson, you're going to have to wait because he's the most valuable player, so that prediction is going to have to wait. I don't like the direction of the Ravens. I think that they peaked last year. I could see them coming back down towards the pack. And I would take Baker Mayfield every day of the week over Sam Darnold. Now, Sam Darnold had mono. So the problem is with Cam Newton is that you have a lot of quarterbacks that either have two places. You either have two quarterbacks, either they then want to select a quarterback or they're established. So let's look at the AFC West. You have Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota. I don't see Cam going there.
You're full. So
loaded.
So you're full. If
Mahomes,
you're full, you
let's
move on.
list the teams. Let's list the quarterbacks and just like
Kansas City Chiefs, Mahomes. You want to get an irrelevant backup quarterback there.
We talked about the Chargers, and then I really like Drew Lock, and I don't see Denver going with a Cam Newton. I really do not.
I think number one, it would be a distraction. Number two, Cam's the kind of guy who may not be happy in that backup role. And I think that would be distracting for Drew Lock. So I don't see Cam.
Especially to a young kid with Pat Shurmur.
How about Jameis? Do you see Jameis going to the Broncos as a backup? I'm not sure. He might be discontent as well. I'm not sure either one are a good fit behind Drew Lock.
I could see Jameis being more of the backup quarterback type. Then you have the Rams. Let's go to the West in the NFC. Jared Goff. I'm not a fan of Goff, and he's so much money.
They let go of Gurley, and I don't know what you guys think, but I believe Gurley's knees are shot, just like Jay Ajayi. If you remember, he was a young guy, 25. He got unloaded by the Finns, had one great year, one shining moment in the Super Bowl for that year for the Eagles, and then his knees are shot, and he's done. He's out of the league. I fear that Gurley, who had a major knee surgery, came in, and the fact they didn't play him last year, I think, is physical. And that's why they didn't play him, is because his knees were bad. And I don't think I know he just got picked up by who? The Falcons? They picked up Gurley?
I believe that they did.
Yep, they picked him up. But I believe his knees are shot.
I see, and by the way, I think we go like 40 minutes and then maybe take callers at the end. But I like that Gurley's going back to the ATL because I think he's from there. I know he went to the University of Georgia. So it's kind of a homecoming for the guy. And they let go of Devontae Freeman. They haven't had a good running game in a long time. And that offensive line in Atlanta, they've never been able to get it right. They picked Lindstrom last year. They also picked a tackle out of Washington. Both of those guys got injured. Ever since Kyle Shanahan was there, they've never really had awesome running. I mean, Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman, when both of them were peaking, it was maybe like a 2-year window.
That was good. That was a nice window for them. But for the most part, Atlanta has had difficulty with offensive line, poor running game. And I don't know what we're going to expect of Matt Ryan. How's he going to be better this year? I don't think so. He's been receding slowly over the last few years.
I absolutely think so, and they're paying him a boatload of money. You have Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. Our friend Dan Quinn is kind of on the hot seat there in Atlanta.
I think he is. I think he's one of those guys. He's a bubble boy heading into the year.
He doesn't like to be called that, but sometimes you sneak that in on conversations.
Yeah, I don't say that to his face.
Right, because he still has that jersey in him. He could come and snatch out at you. So you have Todd Gurley. That was I think
still
that
have.
I think that he's still going to be a fun player to watch.
Julio Jones, top 5 wide receiver.
Oh yeah.
So as long as you got Julio, the question is how will Gurley will his knees last through the year? If he does, he's a good player. I just don't know. I think there's a lot of speculation.
And they also signed Dante Fowler on the defensive side of the football, and they should maybe even go and draft even more linebacker and more pass rushing help. So that leaves Seattle, and I mean Greg Olsen is in Seattle, so I know Russell is there. Again, that's a pure backup role.
Yeah, and Russell's going to be playing, and he's been durable. So either if you put Cam or Jameis there, they're going to sign for pretty low amount of money. That'll be last resort for either of those guys because they won't be playing at all, and they will be clear backups.
And Cam is 30 years old, so Cam Newton. I could see Jameis. I could see one of these two quarterbacks here. This wouldn't be out of the question. The Arizona Cardinals, even though Kyler Murray is there to have a package for Cam Newton, I could see it. But again, I think it's a last resort for these guys.
And I don't think you want Kyler Murray. You don't want to have Kingsbury have to deal with Cam Newton and all that surrounds him. I think the Chargers are a much better fit for the reasons we outlined earlier.
The Redskins are fit. Ron Rivera's there. You have a young quarterback in Dwayne Haskins. He could battle it out with Cam Newton.
Not only that, you're right. The Rivera-Newton connection. Those guys were very close. And just the way Nagy brought in Nick Foles because of their closeness, you could see Riverboat Ron bringing in Cam for another go-round.
Marcus Levy, good buddy of the show. He's a Mavericks fan, and he's also a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan. So you're the Eagles guy.
So let's talk Eagles. Jordan Howard.
Wants to talk about Darius Slay, actually.
Okay, I think Darius Slay. I got to give Howie Roseman some props. He's a first notch cornerback, and I think they needed it. And Darius Slay, I think, looking forward to coming here. Got him on a medium deal. You know, we paid him enough money. But you look at the Eagles. They're moving Jalen Mills to safety. I'm not sure how well that's going to work out. Because Jalen Mills had the worst against the Seahawks. He had the worst half of any CB ever. And I'm looking. So I think Slay's a good acquisition. They unloaded Jordan Howard. He was injured most of the year. And I believe Miami signed him for 2 years.
Yeah, really cheap deal for kind of a backup running back there.
So you might
I don't even know who the heck they're running.
You might end up picking Corey Clement is a free agent. They might end up just picking him up cheap. And obviously, you know, so Howard's gone. So the big news here at Philly is Slay is here and Howard is gone for you Eagles fans. And also, you obviously you acquired the defensive tackle whose name is Hargrave.
Yeah, Javon
Hargrave, not Hargraves. And I think that'll be a favorable move for the Eagles. Certainly, we welcome all comments, and we're going to.
And Jalen Mills, I think that now you're going to have Darius Slay. Who's going to be your other cornerback there? The second corner.
Avonte Maddox. Avonte Maddox is your other corner.
And then I think later in the draft, you're going to be replacing Malcolm Jenkins in some capacity. I know that you have Rodney McLeod out there on the island.
They signed Rodney to 2 years. They had to do that. He's the only veteran presence. And I don't know Jalen Mills if he could fill that position. I think you have to draft a safety.
Yeah, I see that as well. Then you look at the rest of the league. You have Malcolm Jenkins going to the Saints. You have Melvin Gordon going to the Denver Broncos, reuniting with Pat Shurmur. I mean, it's going to be a chore to see if Shurmur will actually mess up this Broncos team, because this team is going to be freaking stacked next year.
Yeah, I think Shurmur is in his place. He's an offensive coordinator. He's not a head coach. He doesn't have the demeanor or personality of the head coach. And I think Drew Lock is a good worker, and I'm optimistic. I'm thumbs up on the Broncos this year.
Yeah, so am I. So I can't wait for football. Now we got to get this figured out in the next coming months, hopefully weeks. We can figure this out so we can figure out the virus so that we can get to training camp, because these guys are going to have to work together. I mean, Tom Brady, he's going to have to train with his receivers in Tampa. And I personally, Bruce, am a little bit offended that the NFL is deciding to have 17 regular season games, because it's an odd number. You're going to see more resting for the playoffs. The 2 seed, you're going to have a 12-4 team resting their guys multiple weeks, and it's a 2 seed that is not going to be able to have the bye. I think it's greed on the NFL's part. I like having 6 playoff teams. I don't want to have 3 wild card teams. What do you think about this new CBA, and are you okay with it?
I don't like it. I'm okay with it. The players, some of the lesser players, their minimum contracts went up. So I think this was a simple majority rule. It barely passed the CBA through the Players Association. They're going to be playing an extra game. They're going to have attrition. It's going to hurt them physically. It's going to be weird a little bit with the wild card. And as you alluded to, don't love it, but it's greed. It's a lot more money in the owners' pockets, especially a lot more TV, a lot more advertising dollars for that extra game. The preseason games don't sell. They're not able to sell merch or concessions, and an extra regular season game certainly works better for the owners.
I agree. I look at that and I see what you're saying. But preseason is very important for these fringe guys. It's important for the fringe guys that they're able to still have a chance to make a team. Now, Hard Knocks, I really want to see that come back into the fold. That is on the edge right now. HBO would lose a ton of money if Hard Knocks was not available.
What team do you imagine would be in the Hard Knocks realm?
Great question. An interesting tidbit came out today. Matt Patricia telling Darius Slay that you're not good enough to be a number 1 corner. Shut your mouth. You're not a leader. Darius Slay seems like a pretty stand-up guy. I'm not actually surprised about Patricia, because I heard these rumors that Patricia was kind of acting like a little bit of a bleep hole. I heard these rumors, or an a-hole. I think we could say that.
Yep.
I heard these rumors.
That works.
And it just is, Patricia is not good enough as a coach to act that way. And I don't even think Bill Belichick acts that way. I'm not even sure who acts that way effectively. And that's not being old school to me. That's just being a straight up prick. And that comment to Slay, that sure got your attention when you showed it to me.
That's right. I think, I don't know if the Eagles play the Lions, but that could make for a little bit of drama. And I like the fact that Slay has a chip on his shoulder. Certainly the Eagles corners have had minimal interceptions. They haven't been big hitters. Jalen Mills, Rasul Douglas, Sidney Jones. This is the worst pick ever for you Eagles fans or casual NFL observers. When's the last time a team drafts a second-round cornerback with a torn Achilles? That was Sidney Jones. So you know he's going to be on the shelf. Of all the positions in the league, corner, you need to have agility, you need to have quick twitch, and Sidney Jones never developed any confidence, was not good, and was a complete waste and a bust for the Eagles.
Yeah, and I'm sad because I was high on Sidney Jones. I think his character was very good. He did have some injuries. I want to see him still get more opportunities.
I'm not sure if he's even going to make it to training camp with the Eagles. We'll see. That's maybe not the opportunity you're looking for.
Good buddy BVD in the show, checking in here to the podcast. I think that the Bengals with Joe Burrow, I was watching Joe Burrow tape from JT O'Sullivan. He does a really nice job. He was talking about how Joe Burrow's footwork is just perfect. And I think that I've turned the corner. I'm ready to embrace Joe Burrow going to the Cincinnati Bengals. And I think that now Cincinnati got a guy, DJ Reader, actually a Clemson defensive tackle. You have Geno Atkins that's still there, Sam Hubbard. Their defense actually has some pop to it. And I think that Joe Burrow, it could be at least 8 or 9 wins for the Cincinnati team. I think it's going to be really exciting to see Bengals football next year.
I harkened back to Andrew Luck. If you remember the year before they drafted Luck, the Indianapolis Colts were a dead team. Nobody was watching him, no fans. And Joe Burrow with his swagger, coming back to Ohio to a once proud Bengals team. When I say once proud, I'm going back to 86. And I'm looking back to Ken Anderson and Steve Kreider and Chris Collingsworth and all those guys and Ickey Woods. That's how long it's been that I could recall since that it'd be relevant. And Joe Burrow has a chance to fill those seats to like they used to say, "Welcome to the Jungle." That's an old song. That's a song that they played in the Super Bowl year when they actually lost to the Niners and Joe Montana. But I'm glad for Cincinnati. It's a great place. The riverfront is a great place to party. I spent a year in Louisville, Kentucky, and some time in Cincinnati, and I'm happy for the Cincinnati fans.
Yeah, I want to go to Cincinnati. So when you were in Cincinnati, you had Xavier in Cincinnati. Did you ever go like to those colleges? Did you ever see those places?
I went to the waterfront. I went to see the Reds play. I played golf with John Smoltz when he came in, and that was a really great day. I'll never forget that. And just go to the waterfront and all the restaurants and bars and everything back in the late 80s was a great time. I look back on that fondly, and I'm hoping Joe Burrow, hard to say his name, Joe Burrow, say that 10 times. I hope that he brings some of the excitement back to the den of the Tigers.
So John Ross is there. Do you remember that's the guy who ran the fastest time ever at the Combine? I think.
Yep. Unfortunately, he's been injured on and off. He's had hamstring problems. I hope that he could be healthy this year.
I hope he can be really good because Washington seems to be the land of busts. I mean, you have Sidney Jones, Markel Fultz, John Ross. Dante Pettis ended up being all right. Jake Locker was from Washington. I mean, it just seems like the land of busts. Washington. BVD says, you better embrace my Cardinals in the playoffs next year.
Well, certainly you got a great acquisition in DeAndre Hopkins. That was huge, and that might launch you into the playoffs. Kyler Murray, a year under his belt, I believe. How's the defense? Tell us about the Cardinals defense.
I think that the Cardinals defense is actually a huge area of weakness. I mean, they have Devin Kennard on that defense. Patrick Peterson is older. I'm surprised he's still kind of with the team. And the defense is absolutely it's lacking. I'll put it that way in Washington. I mean, I like the Kennard signing. They did get Phillips from the Buffalo Bills, Jordan Phillips. But Vance Joseph, he was an underwhelming head coach. And the Cardinals defense, I mean, they played a little bit better. They weren't a complete joke, but it's funny. Every mock draft has them taking an offensive tackle. And man, if they're going to take that next step, they're going to need some defensive talent at some point down the line. I think every pick after their first should be all defense.
Yeah, that's why
Chandler Jones is a really
That's
good
why
player.
I led with that. So I think if the defense could be average, I think this team could sneak into a wild card.
Absolutely. So speaking of BVD, he knows Uncle Lou well, and the Masters in Augusta. Everything's going to be in September. The Kentucky Derby, the Masters, NFL football.
Big shout out to Uncle Lou from Augusta, Georgia. One of the great guys, one of the big Bulldogs fans, one of the best podcasters, nicest guy around. He hosted us last year at the Masters on Saturday night with Little Lou. And I'm hoping that I'm making plans. To go there on Friday night and to make a weekend of it and pick up some tickets on that road to see John Daly, have him carry him out of his trailer into the Hooters and carry him back out at the end of the night. And there's something about Augusta National and the Masters that's just special. And I'm glad. I'm hoping that they can that the virus will be under control and that they could play the Masters in September for the first time since 1918, which it's always been in April.
Yeah, I'll talk about the Masters, and then I have a great idea that I'm gonna actually push by you. First of all, it's going to be incredible. September could shape out to be one of the craziest months of all time because you could have a Georgia Bulldogs game going on. You could have a Falcons game going on. You could have the Masters, and then you could have the Derby all in one Saturday, all in one Sunday. And I mean, the travel, the virus will have to be dead because to fill an 80,000 person stadium, the flights. Also, here's another thing about the Masters, and this could be a huge hindrance to the PGA and the Masters. The PGA Tour, and you're very aware that the Europeans, and it's an international game.
Sure is.
So with this virus being international, even if the U.S. figures it out, there's so many fans that love coming in internationally for the Masters. It's incredible. So that could be a huge unfortunate hindrance, is that not if the U.S. figures it out, there are still going to be nations that might not have the virus under control.
Well, a lot of the guys that play on the PGA Tour, especially Europeans, South Africans, Australians, they're going to be situated here in the United States, so they're not going to have to travel. But you're right. As far as the international fans, I remember last year with Tiger, the epic final round that we were pleased to be in attendance for. There's so many international fans, and they may be precluded from attending because of potential residual of travel restrictions.
I have a great event, though. This is what I'm going to pass by you now. I look at, remember Tiger versus Phil in Vegas?
Yep. You mean just a made-for-TV type event?
With gambling?
Yep.
Where they were gambling every hole?
They could easily do that, even in the viral laden times. Because
just have two
have two guys. You don't need fans. Made-for-TV event. It's an idea.
The big three. I love that idea of combining Survivor, like a reality show, combined with big three basketball. Like maybe the challenges have to do with basketball. Mm-hmm. I think that would be extremely entertaining.
Could be. You know, we're looking at a lot of these fringe events maybe taking center stage because of the crazy times we're living in.
It's funny that you watch Colin Cowherd, you watch the guys on Fox and ESPN and on the radio, and a lot of them are at home just like us with it. We even have better equipment than Fox. I'm telling you.
A lot of times guys are Skyping into ESPN. They're talking about I don't think the NBA is going to extend till September. That I don't believe. If they're going to start up at all, they'll be in June, July, finish up in early August. And frankly, I'm not a big baseball fan, so I'd welcome the NBA coming in and filling my time in the summer.
It could be in practice gyms. Now for Brett Brown, I actually think for Brett Brown, this virus is going to be.
It could save his job. This virus could possibly. He has a built-in excuse. Everything's in suspended animation. One issue for you Sixers fans is we still haven't heard about Ben Simmons' MRI. Does he have a herniated disc? Will he need surgery? And if he does, they should have pulled Deshaun Jackson. Let's talk about that. Deshaun Jackson has a sports hernia. Should have gotten repaired in the preseason. Waited 8 games, and finally, one play he was out, got surgery, was out for the year. So if Ben Simmons really needs surgery, let's get it done, Ben. The year is over. Let's get you all better for next year. If you don't need it, then you should be back in June. So we don't know because there's kind of a you think China has a blanket. I think the Sixers media, the Sixers ownership, they don't really tell you anything except buy tickets. That's one thing they always tell you.
We got our friend Brandon Rogers here. And in fact, Deshaun had that huge play against Washington. You were at that game, right?
Yeah, it was a long play. It was like a 90-yard, and we thought he was going to have a great year. Eagles fans thought that it was over. Poof, and he was gone. He came back for one series in week 8, and he was gone, and it was a waste. So I'm not very optimistic. I'm not optimistic that Jackson can stay healthy at age 34.
Got our friend Brandon Rogers. He's actually from Minnesota. He's a huge PJ Fleck fan, and he's one of my closest followers on Rover. G-Man 409, also a guy out of Texas. I think it could be fun to take some callers here towards the back half of the show.
Yeah, let's take some callers. Let's see. Will we hear the audio?
Yes. And what I'm going to do is last 2 minutes. So I want to thank our podcast here for listening. We talked about Gurley. We talked about Burrow. We will have like maybe a draft coming up, maybe a coach's draft. We're going to have some themed shows with our new setup, but we wanted to get it kicked off tonight. And Bruce, take our podcast out, sign us out for our podcast.
Yes. As far as your podcast people out there, thanks for logging in. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, good night and good sports.
All right, there we go. So our podcast now completed up there, but we're still rocking here. No, Chris, we ain't leaving yet. Now the show's going to get even more wild. This is what you guys have all been waiting for. I'm copying this link to you guys. So now we're actually going to get some people that are popping on. And, Bruce, you're here with me, so it's more comfortable because some of these guys, I haven't met yet. So some of them might be strangers here.
We always have the dump button if they're not nice to us, but hopefully they'll be great callers and we will have some very fertile dialogue about anything you want to talk about sports-wise or, of course, viral illness-wise.
So you guys see that link? So if you guys see that link, people who want to call into the show, just follow that link. And I could go to your Facebook and also I'll post that link right now for people in the Facebook, but going to go ahead and post it several times here in the comments.
So tell people, those who are not that great with computers like me, how do you actually get to call it? What do you have to do?
Well, all you do is if you're on a laptop, you click onto it, and then you should, maybe title. You probably see a screen for your camera and everything, and there you are. There's Bruce.
Are we still live on Facebook, or did we sign off?
Should I write a comment in? Here, I'll post a comment.
Sure.
Share. Sean White says, big season ahead. John Fusco, hey guys, you're a welcome relief from today's headlines.
Yep, it's finally, yeah, we're glad, John, you're a great guy and a big supporter of Gross Granora Paint Specialists, and we're glad we could talk a little about football and just get away from the coronavirus. That's all you hear or see anymore, and it's very important, but you do need a break from it.
So negative, and even people in our own house, I'm sure that they're not going to watch this live stream, but all I hear about is celebrities getting it. Who was Andy Cohen?
Andy Cohen for Bravo got it. And there's we're happy to report our friend Paul Teller, who works in the White House under Vice President Pence, who's a great guy from Duke Blue Devils.
Yeah.
He does not have it. There was speculation
Mikey
that he was
Pence,
the guy.
Hoosiers versus Duke. I'm sure they play a lot of basketball together.
They probably do. But
he's all right. And
So Paul Teller's okay. So that was the news of the day, which is good news.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of people that are actually doing better that just don't show any symptoms of the virus. But I want to get back to playing basketball. Today, I actually saw a public golf course open, and Bruce,
really?
that could be our spot.
Around here?
Yeah. Maybe I'll tell you off air, or I guess people will come. Whatever, people will come. It's Old Masters, our good buddies.
Was it really open
Bob
today?
Thatcher's. I saw people carrying their bags there.
Really?
Yes. And I was wearing a mask in a grocery store with my mom today. And I felt like I was you ever feel like you're in a TV show? I felt like I was in an apocalyptic television
show. You were doing a remake of the movie Contagion.
It was really scary. You ever wear a mask anywhere? I mean, other than Halloween when you're a 15-year-old kid
Yeah, I do in the operating room all the time.
But then that's pretty normal. But the fact that there was no meat and the fact that you couldn't even talk to people and everybody else didn't have their mask, so it felt really awkward.
They probably thought you were infected.
That's exactly right.
Were they like getting out of your way?
Yeah, but it kind of felt good. It's like you have a cop car going through lights.
So when I signed off, did I sign off with anybody, or maybe that was just a fake sign off?
What do you mean sign off?
Remember we signed off? Am I still on my Facebook live stream?
Yeah. The only thing that is off now is the audio in case we get.
So we signed off the podcast. So I know some of you just jumped off because you thought we were signing off because
some people really
jumped off. They've been well trained. So how do people
trained the jump off
the plank? When we give our famous sign off? They all jump off.
I want people to jump on.
How do they call in now?
Click on the link. Click on the link and follow it. Let's see if somebody will do it. It's so funny because a lot of times we don't try to have callers. We're trying to, to really focus in. And it's not that we don't like our callers. A lot of time we have a lot to say. But now it's time. It's time for the callers. So we have Sean White, John Fusco. We have a couple of people on Facebook. You guys are welcome to come on to the show. Brandon Rogers. Let's just keep talking, kind of like Theo Vaughn does, Bruce. I mean, this is to be a radio host. I tell this to a lot of kids because I'm a teacher and I teach kids and of the following generation. And all right, G-Men 409 from Texas, good guy. He's trying to come into the show.
Hopefully,
should we try to do it to ourselves?
I don't know what that means.
Oh my! Look at that! Holy crap! Look at that!
Is he trying to stream in and he can't?
Here, follow that link. Follow that link. I'm looking for you. But yeah, I tell kids all the time that if you want to be a sports radio host, it's almost like being a comedian. You got to entertain and fill in the time, especially now. And I wonder if people are going to still do local radio. Did you hear local radio today?
Yeah, when I was listening to local radio here in Philly, I was hearing them talk about some of their favorite movies, famous movies. Somebody was talking about Anchorman, how he had to watch it 10 times and liked it. So people are talking about, and I listened to the NBA network on Sirius, and they were actually talking about old NBA games. They were talking about a Karl Malone game, John Stockton game. And what they're doing on NBA TV is they're showing old classic NBA games. So for some people who never saw them live, they're actually getting a chance to catch up on NBA history. And because there's nothing else to talk about, the hosts are actually talking about some of those games, talking about movies, talking about foods. Just, I guess, here in Philly, during baseball season, when the Phillies are eliminated, then the hosts have to talk about cheesesteaks, best steaks, best barbecue items. So you really have to. When you're a host, as you can see, it's a lot easier if there's two people. But you can imagine if there's just one person, that would be very challenging.
That would almost be
to carry the conversation alone.
Extremely. I could do it by myself. I mean, when's the last time you spoke by yourself? Sang in the shower. I could sing, but if I did that, I think we'd have no viewers. We have 8 viewers now. And even though this mic is really good, I don't know if it could make me sound that good. Sometimes I'll nerd out and announce like games, or I'll pretend. So, you know what I've been nerding out doing? Pretending I'm an NFL coach and like taking questions. Sometimes I'll press conference myself.
You know what I'm doing? I'm outside. I'm pretending I'm an NBA player. I'm just shooting the ball. Then I go to the putty green, and it's springtime here, and we got a nice artificial putty green. Just going out there and working, hitting the balls through that green. And
it's been bumpy. It's been really bumpy.
There's actually Poa Anna, which is a kind of algae that's actually growing on our artificial putty green. Not proud to say that. So there's parts of our green you need to take a nice wrist cock to get the putt to the hole. So if anybody out there has any technology in the Philly area, we need somebody to do a little sandblasting of our artificial green, because right now the greens are slow.
A little Poa.
Little Poa Anna.
That sounds like a beautiful female.
Sounds like a girl I went to the prom with the high school. Her name was Poa Anna.
Yeah, and she, what's it called?
She was a one-hit wonder.
Yeah. Also, the green was not slick.
I'm going to let that comment go unchallenged. So far. Has anybody been trying to link
I think that people have. Marcos Levy says in Panama, you're not allowed to leave the house from 9 to 5. Now, I wonder if you could still do walks or drive the car. That's what I was curious about, because it's therapeutic for me to drive. It's therapeutic for me to listen.
You can still drive. You're allowed to drive, at least for now.
You got to be. I mean, that would be absolutely absurd, because then I could. But by the way, delivery people, I could just say I'm a delivery guy if the cop pulls me over.
What would you say you're delivering? Old golf balls?
I could say I'm delivering my presents or drugs, or I could say I'm delivering.
Yeah, say you're delivering drugs, and they'll say, okay, keep going.
Perfect.
That's authorized. Governor Wolf certainly sanctions that activity.
No drugs like chloroquine and all those special
like
stuff.
Hydrochloroquine?
Yes, the magic drug. The magic drug doctor.
We hope so.
We're going to be on here for 4 more minutes. If nobody can get in, I guess that's a glitch. Today I had the podcast or the show, the 4-person mock that you watched.
I did. You had Coach Josh Daish. You had David from Livingston, New Jersey.
I got him. And of course, Justin, this guy comes from the class. Yankee King been screaming, screaming a lot of baseball there. Justin, how are you, my friend?
Pretty good. Just had to turn you guys
take
off
off the headphones so we could hear our buddy.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You got him?
Okay.
I'll take it off.
Yep. Apparently I can't do headphones.
That's okay. We can hear you.
These things, pieces of shit. Apple. The fuck you
They are horrible.
Whatever.
That's why you get it for free with your phone.
That's really old. That's really old school.
Anyway, after that.
So what do you like to talk about?
Yeah.
What's up in Yankee land?
And tell us how you got on. Tell the listeners too. How did you get on again?
Oh, I went to the link of StreamYards. Apparently you have to go to not Google. Apparently you have to go to Safari or a backup to Google.
Interesting.
I don't know why. That's weird.
Right.
But whatever. Anyway,
All right, you
Let's
got
talk-
the floor, man.
Let's talk some Giants.
You're on Rover
football.
Sports.
Let's talk some Giants football because I don't really want to talk baseball because it will get me sad that it's not going on. I can't see Garrett Cole. But anyway, the Bradbury move I didn't like at first, but I've grown to like it after seeing some film, after seeing some tape. I wanted an offensive lineman like Jack Conklin to come on in and be the right tackle, but Jesus Christ, I don't think the Giants know what an offensive line is. But I still would like some trades to be made. I still don't think we should really be extending. I know I'm going to get a lot of slack for this in the comments and in the chat, but I don't think it'd be smart for the Giants to extend Saquon Barkley. Paying a running back $20 million per season when we have absolutely no one behind him, no depth anywhere on this team. Because let's look at the roster, shall we? Where's the defensive line outside of Dexter Lawrence? Where's the linebacking crew? Where we have corners, but where's the offensive line? Where's the defensive line?
Yeah. I mean, but I don't think you're going to have to franchise Saquon for a long time, Bruce.
No, Bruce, before you talk, I'm going to say this.
Okay.
We have to extend him now because he's a running back. Running backs have very short time frames in the NFL. 30, they start breaking down. Look at Todd Gurley. Dude just got kicked to the corner and went to the Atlanta Falcons. It would not be smart for the Giants when we have absolutely no offensive line outside of Will Hernandez and Kevin Zeitler to extend Saquon Barkley and pay him $20 million, and he's not going to play on a franchise tag, and he's going to sit out next year.
Yeah, I could see that could be trouble. Unfortunately, he's one of your biggest weapons. He hasn't been hurt. Difference with Gurley is he had a major knee surgery in college. He was damaged goods, and I believe that the Falcons, basically signed an injured guy. So I think that was a bad signing. I don't think the Rams would have let him go unless he was injured. We have no indication Barkley is an adorable guy. He's a character player. Certainly fills seats in Giants in MetLife Stadium, but I understand your concerns. $20 million is a lot. It looks also interesting that there are a ton of wide receiver free agents out there. They're not getting the money they would like, so a lot of those guys are going to be going for $8 or $9 million a year. So you might be able to pick up some wide receivers cheap to enhance your offense.
I don't really think we should be picking up wide receivers for the Giants. I think we should be trading a little bit of people away, like Leonard Williams, like a Golden Tate, like a Kevin. I know I'm going to get slack for this because, I'm talking offensive lineman, and I want to trade Kevin Zeitler, and I want to trade Golden Tate, get a few more picks in the third round because I'm a little about what our second pick is. What, the 36 or 37?
Hey, Justin, I think we also have another guest here to the show, so we can communicate three people. He's G-Man 409. Can you hear me?
Hey, G-Man.
Hey, guys, how's it going?
All right, we got G-Man 409 coming into the show. Justin brings up Saquon Barkley. He's worried about the Barkley contract. I personally am not, Justin. I want to keep this guy. He's one of the most special players that the Giants have had. I think the Giants could get Jedrick Wills this year, Justin, and combine with Fleming now with the offensive line. I just think that Saquon, I just don't see any reason why the guy should leave. But G-Man 409, what do you think about the offensive line and how we can address this offensive line?
I definitely think we need to pick somebody up in the draft. I mean, I thought we was going to do something in free agency, maybe Conklin or somebody, but get them is picking all these bunch of like second string players, having all that cap space kind of threw me off.
Yep. Do you also put emphasis on the line? Certainly, Yankees King 22 is I think I agree with you. It's not sexy to pick up linemen, but the teams that win in the trenches. And I think that your offensive line, Nate Solder's been a disappointment. Overpaid him. What are your thoughts about the line, G-Man 409?
Definitely, that's something we got to work on. Definitely I think the fourth pick or trade back, get a good lineman to tackle, and then second round also get a center. That guy from I believe was in Michigan.
Yeah, I think it's a Michigan center. But
now, wait,
Justin, what are you going to do with Saquon? I mean, why you want to trade him so badly? And then there's no running backs on this team other than what is it? Wayne Gallman's the second guy now. That's the second running back. I mean, I don't know what you're trying to do, Justin.
Because I don't want to pay a running back $20 million because you know what that's going to do to Daniel Jones if he stays with this potential he has? And if Joe Judge and Jason Garrett can unlock his potential and kill those turnovers, yeah, he's going to ask for $20+ million as well. Because look at Brady. He got $30 million per.
Mm-hmm.
He got $30 million easy. Quarterbacks make a lot of dough. They're making this. Running backs, I don't feel like paying when we don't have an offensive line. So I'm sorry, but if you're GM, you can't think with this. You have to think with this. Well, this. Your brain. You have to think with your brain, not your heart. Just because Barkley is a standout player, a character guy, he's a locker room leader, he's the icon of this he's a leader of this franchise, a captain. But is it smart with this team right now? Rover, I know you love Gettleman. You love the guy.
Yeah.
But I don't think picking Barkley second when this team was absolute garbage was the smart idea. I think we should have traded back that draft and got offensive line. And with Barkley, I would trade him. But my asking price would be either a first-round pick or 2 second-round picks.
No. You keep Saquon, and then you let him go into the free agent market, or you trade him on the last year of his contract.
He's not going to play in the last year of his contract. He's sitting out immediately.
So how many years do we have him before the 2 years? Because how many years do we have him
this year and next year?
And then it's the last
2
year,
years,
right?
I believe we can
tag
him.
God.
Yeah, and we'll tag him. By the way, it's not $20 million. That's Amari Cooper money. Running backs don't make that much money. I think that the highest is $15 million. And by the way, you're paying James Bradbury $15 million. If you pay Saquon the same as James Bradbury, I'm totally fine with that.
No, Saquon Barkley's got 3 years on his deal left.
Yeah, by the way, pay Saquon. Justin, what would be affordable? I'd say $15 million for Saquon. Same as James Bradbury, same as Nate Solder.
Is he really going to get that when Zeke got that and he's a better running back than Zeke?
Let me see how much Zeke got.
In NFL history.
By the way, with Saquon Barkley, all of the deals that he's making, all of the sponsorship dollars, living in New York, Zeke Elliott, by the way, he's getting paid 15. He's getting paid 10, and then 15 and 16. So that means Saquon's going to make 16 with Zeke. So no one's making 20. That's the
floor. The floor is $16 million for Saquon. Saquon has 2020 and 2021 and 2022 left on his deal. If he breaks out in 2020, you know for a fact, if Saquon Barkley can do Saquon Barkley things, dude's sitting out. Dude ain't going to play for $4.7 million on that because he's not going to risk that fifth-year option getting declined because of an injury. He's not going to.
First of all, Daniel Jones is going to be really good at that point. He's going to be really cheap. I think that Saquon's going to want to win a Super Bowl because that's when the Giants are going to be at their peak in 2 years.
Yeah, I'd probably say like 2 or 3 years.
I think that Saquon is going to be the piece that is going to help the Giants, and we got to enjoy him, Justin. I mean, I know
we got to enjoy him. Wait, Rover, you're a baseball fan, right?
Kind of. Not as big as you and other people. What's up?
No. Friend, I'm from Ohio. Now I'm a Yankee fan, as you can see. But the Cleveland Indians are going through a situation with Lindor. Can't really afford him. Can't really juggle enough money strings to get Lindor. And the market value for Saquon Barkley says 6 years, $96.7 million. And a floor of $16.1 million per season.
Yeah.
I'm not really wanting to pay a running back 6 years, even though he's 23.
Well, we're going to revisit that, though. In 2 years, we're going to enjoy Saquon. He's going to help us win playoff games. Justin, I want to thank you, G-Men 409. We're actually going to go sign off of our show. But, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thanks so much. Great contributions. And you guys stay safe out there.
All right, guys. So I wanted to thank those two guys for coming on to our show, providing insight, always entertaining, and Justin always has some hot takes, Bruce.
Yep. We go around the NFC, and again, we're based in Philly, but we have people in Dallas and Washington, as you see, in New York, and we're equal opportunity, and we want to hear everybody's point of view, and that's why they call us Rovers, because we're roving everywhere. And I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. You know, we covered some different territory. The time goes quickly. It's 12:15 on a Friday night here, and it's going to be quiet. It's going to be quiet this weekend in Philly, on the East Coast, and across the United States, across the world.
Quiet for a long time.
Yeah, hopefully not too long. But everybody adhere to the recommendations. Don't go to the beach and be a foot from your neighbor, as we saw.
Party with sharks.
Yeah, don't do anything stupid. So thanks for logging on. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and you all have a good night now.